So, obviously we're talking about Korea. No. I wanted to let you know that the latest forecast regarding a potential increase in import tariffs regarding those nations that have chosen to contribute to the security of Greenland, in my opinion, it's a serious error, and I obviously cannot agree with that decision. I share the attention that the American presidency dedicates, as I have mentioned to you on many occasions, to Greenland and more generally to the Arctic region, which is a strategic zone where quite clearly we must prevent an excessive interference from actors who could potentially be hostile. But I believe that in this particular sense, the intention of some European countries to deploy troops to participate in a greater level of security should be understood not, let's say, as an initiative specifically directed against the United States, but instead perhaps against other global actors. Clearly, it seems to me that on this matter there has been a significant problem of understanding and communication. As for my own perspective, I continue to strongly emphasize the crucial role of NATO. It is NATO that serves as the essential forum where we must collectively strive to organize effective deterrence mechanisms against interferences that could prove hostile in a territory that is clearly strategic. And I believe that the fact that NATO has begun to work on this is a very positive initiative. And all the more reason for this, because NATO has started doing this work. I believe it would be a mistake today to impose new sanctions. I believe it is necessary instead to reopen the dialogue on this issue and to avoid any escalation from this particular point of view, and that is precisely what I am currently working on. I spoke with President Donald Trump just a few hours ago, to whom I clearly expressed my thoughts, and I also spoke with the Secretary General of NATO, who confirmed to me that NATO is beginning to undertake efforts from this perspective. Clearly, throughout the day, I will also hear from European leaders. A meeting has been called, I believe, at the COREPER level of the European Union for now, but I believe that at this stage it is very important to talk to each other and that it is very important to avoid an escalation, because we can work together to achieve an objective that is useful and necessary for everyone.
President, what exactly did Donald Trump tell you when he spoke to you, when he, so to speak, conveyed his judgments and opinions?
Look, what I said, I believe the message coming from Europe wasn't clear. That's my perception, that the positive reasoning from my point of view for the initiatives being pursued wasn't clear, okay? That's why I'm saying that in my opinion there's also a problem of, I can say, my interpretation of what was being done. So I believe that on this, the clarity that in these hours, I don't know if you saw, for example, the President of Finland, Alexander Stubb, let's say the clarity that the leaders, some leaders are giving right now, I believe can be useful from this point of view.
But what did Trump say? Why is Trump saying important statements?
Well, I answered her, but I can't give you a verbatim account of what a colleague tells me, no.
He found a welcome in this.
Well, it seemed to me he was interested in listening, but it seemed that from the American perspective, the message that had arrived from this side, from this shore of the Atlantic, wasn't clear. Well, I mean, I think the risk you see is that the initiatives of some European countries were interpreted as, I might say, anti-American, but that wasn't the intention at all. Clearly, the actors that worry us are completely different, right?
But this message didn't seem clear at all to me. President, if I may, given that the Europeans have said he'll hear in the coming hours, practically speaking, do you think that, also because of this position from Trump and the Europeans, they even want to increase their lateral presence in Greenland, or at least send a signal in that direction?
And in case Italy, since the situation seems to have changed a bit as we're in contact with American nations, could it participate as a sign of unity, let's say, with the Europeans?
But I've already given you my answer. I don't believe that the main issue here right now is to create an escalation. I think it's rather about trying to engage in a dialogue. And if my interpretation is correct, that on the American side there is a significant concern regarding interference or excessive in a strategic zone, and from the European side there's a will to help tackle this problem, which is also ours. The right path is not, let's say, to
to discuss among ourselves, but also to work together to find a solution to a concern that involves every single one of us. So I think it's premature to talk about it right now because I'm working to try to, on my part, lower the tension and return to dialogue.
Mr. President, did you also discuss the board for Gaza? And if there are other appointments, I'll add them to my list, especially if Trump is present.
Within Europe?
No, for the moment, I'm not aware of any appointments. We'll see in the coming hours, but for now, I'm not aware. As you may have seen, we too were invited to be part of the Board of Peace, naturally. Anyway, on this, what I've always told you applies.
Oh, I didn't realize you weren't aware. My apologies. No. Well, I'm a little bit lost when it comes to time zones. So yes, even Italy has been invited to participate in the Board of Peace. So I'm the one who's actually bringing you this news.
Clearly, it confirms what we have always stated. I believe that Italy can play a leading role in the construction of the peace plan, and therefore we are ready to do our part. After all, he seems to me a very active actor in the region, as you well know, on good terms with all the other regional actors. And so, by all means, we are happy, and we will do our very best, really, to give our contribution that we believe can truly make a difference.
Excuse me for a moment. The security decree, which is being widely talked about in Italy with a great deal of controversy, if it will be addressed in the Council of Ministers when he returns to Italy.
Wednesday, the security decree, look, you know, I mentioned to you at the year's opening press conference that security would be a key focus of mine this year. Well, what I didn't tell you then, well, it wasn't necessary to mention it, but already before Christmas I had met Minister Piantedosi. I had agreed with Minister Piantedosi to work on a new broad measure with some priorities. I mentioned to you, for example, the priority of youth gangs, the crackdown on youth gangs, again at the press conference. I told Minister Piantedosi to obviously also gather the proposals coming from the majority. I am now calling a meeting upon my return to assess the measure. I don't know if it will be ready for the next Council of Ministers, but we certainly intend to work on it.
Mr. President, excuse me, I'll read a statement from the League that came out today.
Yes. On what you were talking about. Yes, more data on Trump, his obsession with refusing to send troops to reap its bitter fruits. It's good for Italy to have stayed out of this warmongering, our perspective. Now, it already seems to me that it doesn't align with your position. I ask what you think, if there's a political problem with the League on...
There is no political problem with the League concerning this point. Thank you. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Thank you.